Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today, still a while, for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the Ottawa Senators. So today is February, well, today we are going to be playing February of 2006, and as is my habit, in February I am going to be offering contract extensions to players. Now this is a little dicey, and the reason why it's dicey is because in real life, when you reach the February part, and even prior to that, the league already has kind of expressed what they expect the cap to be at for the next season. In the game, that's not there, so I kind of have, I can either cheat and go and check what it was in real life, assuming that the game follows, the salary cap for each year as it was in real life, which I think it does, but I'm not 100% sure. Or I can just not look and try and figure it out as I go. I thought it would be probably a added challenge if I were to do that, so that's kind of what I did. I didn't look it up, and I just went with my gut feeling and decided to sign players, and you know what, if I'm above the cap, I'll fix it later. How about that for, on the fly managing. So you can see all of the contracts that I have offered. Believe it or not, that's not everybody. But I did sign offered contracts to a lot of other players. I know that there's a lot of big numbers there, but really there's only two players that are getting really substantial raises. That would be Ryan Miller, that's getting over $3 million more a year, and Jason Spezza, that's getting about $2 million more a year. Pavel Datsyuk, yes, he's making a lot more, but that's about $500,000 more than what he's making right now. So, and people like Rakunek and everything, that those guys, that's a very small increase. And so I'm trying to bring back Ryder, Spezza, Fisher, Gleason, Rakunek, Datsyuk, Phillips, Volchenkov, Miller, and Emery. Probably the biggest name that I am letting go is Matt Cullen. I like Matt Cullen a lot. I think that he fits really well on the team as a defensive forward. But yeah, he wanted almost $1 million more money for the next 4 years or something like that, and I couldn't justify paying Matt Cullen in 2006 almost $4 million. He wanted like 3.7 something or something like that. So I had to make a few tough choices like that. So, we'll see where we are at. Maybe it would be smarter for me to look it up, and so that I can plan it better. That would make sense, because in real life they do have those tools. So maybe starting next season I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But let's see what happens here. Now, I mentioned it last time, this is probably going to be a short video here. I believe that in 2006 there were Olympics, so there's only a handful of games to be played in February here, so it's probably going to be a little bit of a short video, so that's fine. We can definitely live with that. I'm sure you can. I know I can. I hope you can. Anyway. Alright, so first team on the agenda here is going to be the New Jersey Devils. We are going to be playing in New Jersey, so the Devils are pretty good this season. They are 31-20-1. That's a pretty good record. That's good for 5th in the East. We are 1-0 against the Devils this year. Now let's see if we can win this game. So we're going to go with Ryan Miller in net. They are sending Martin Brodeur. And we lost 4-1. We haven't lost often this year, so that's a little weird. Oh wow, we even were outshot 44-28. Mamma mia, what happened there? So Brian Rolston was the first star of the game. He had a hat-trick, 3 goals. John Madden was the second star with 4 assists, and Brian Giunta was the third star with 2 assists. on his own. So we open up the scoring in the first period. It was Brian McCabe scoring his 10th from Brooks Lake and Patrick Eliash, and it was 1-0 Sens, but then the Devils scored 2 goals before the end of the period to take a 2-1 lead after 1. And then in the second period, they scored twice more, made it 4-1, and nobody would score in the third period, and 4-1 was the final score for the Devils. Brian Rolston has a good game with a hat-trick. We just saw that. And the 4 assists for John Madden. We saw that as well. Alright, so we're going to click the continue button, and then we're going to have a whole lot of news because all of those guys will have signed contracts. Alright. Jerome McGinley extends his point streak to 14 games in Dallas. He had an assist against Nashville. Eugene Melnick is very happy with my work because last month we went 11-1-1. Oh, Sheldon Sorry should be back in the lineup. Chris Phillips should be also healthy. Pavel Datsyuk extended with us. 5-star player, you kind of have to keep him. Mike Fisher signed, Ray Murray signed, Ryan Miller signed, Brooks Lake signed, Anton Volchenkov signed, Jason Spezza signed, Karol Rakunik coming back, Chris Phillips, hey, you're here. Michael Ryder signed his contract, Tim Gleason also signed. There you go. Alright, so with all that being said, I only have Marianosa left that's hurt. And alright, Sheldon Sorry is ready to come back, so we are going to send him to the lineup. And we are going to send I think I'm going to send I don't want to send Chris Phillips down, but I guess I'll send Karol Rakunik back down. Alright. It's going to be good to have Sheldon Sorry back. Alright, and now we are playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. So it's the first time we're going to face Sid the Kid. And we're going to face him twice in 4 days. So Pittsburgh is also doing pretty good. They are 34-16-3. That's good for second in the East. They are 19 points behind us. And we have not played them again so far, like I said. So we are going to look at that lineup. So Andrew Ference is not going to be playing this game. He is put on injured reserve. And Ryan Malone is also hurt, so he's also not going to be playing. So in net, they have Marc-Andre Fleury, pretty steady goaltender there. Wade, oh, I have problems with that name. Wade the Bullwicks, I think. I figure that if I say his last name, 10 different ways, I'm going to hit it right once at least, hopefully. Adrian Aucoin, Greg Zanon, and Andrew Hutchinson, Brooks Orpik, Jeff Finger, Tom Pody, and Ryan Whitney. So the D is okay. That's not a world-beating D, but it's okay. Jagger, of course, is pretty good. Adam Denmarsh is now playing in Pittsburgh after playing in Ottawa for a few years. Sean McEachern is still there. Thomas Sorovi, Eric Christensen, Sidney Crosby, already 5-star player. Malkin, Lemieux, Kostopoulos, Patrick Sharp, Trevor Letowski, Ryan Malone, and Andrei Morozov. So there's a lot of talent in Pittsburgh, especially up front and in net. Alright, so we are playing in Pittsburgh. We are sending Ryan Miller in net. They are going with Marc-Andre Fleury. and we won 5-4. So it was a tight affair. Pittsburgh gave us a run for it. So this time we outshot the opponent like we are so used to now, by now. So we outshot them 47-25. Jason Spezza was the first star of that game. He had 2 assists. Sidney Crosby was the second star with 2 assists. And Anton Volchenkov was the third star with 2 assists. First period, there was only 1 goal, and it was us who scored. It was Chris Kelly scoring from Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza. It was 1-0 Sens after 1. Lots of penalties. Then in the second period, Pittsburgh scored twice, so they took a 2-1 lead, and then Brooks Laich scored from Joe Thornton and Chris Kelly, tied the game at 2, and then Dmitry Kalinin scored his first from Patrick Eliash and Anton Volchenkov, made it 3-2 Sens, but then Malkin tied the game, made it 3-3 after 2. Then Brian McCabe scored on the power play in the third period from Alexei Yashin and Jason Spezza. And then Chris Neal scored his first from Anton Volchenkov and Matt Cullen. It was 5-3 Sens at that point. And then with 1:25 to go in the third period, Mario Lemieux scored, made it 5-4. But it was too little too late. We won. Oh, there was a fight. Near the end of the game, Adrian Aucoin and Chris Neal fought. Alright, and now we are going to continue our little road trip there by going to play in Buffalo. So, Brian Adams and Steve Velket are available. I'm not going to pick them up. I already jacked up my salaries quite a bit. Eric Stahl's point streak ended at 13 games, so he was held scoreless against the Devils. And Nick Lidstrom signed a contract extension with Detroit, a 2-year contract that's going to give him $4.62 million a year. And now Matt Cullen is hurt. He is day-to-day. Is it day-to-day or 1 to 2 weeks? Day-to-day. Alright, so we are not going to recall anybody or anything like that. We are just going to go and play in Buffalo without Matt Cullen. So, Buffalo is doing good. They are 26-19-6 for the season. That's good for 7th in the East. And we are 2-1 against Buffalo this year. So Buffalo is one of the very rare teams that actually beat us in regulation this year. We only have 4 of those. So one of them is against the Devils that just happened. And then this one against another one against the Sabres. Alright, so we have Ryan Miller in net again. And we have former Ottawa Senator Tim Thomas in net for Buffalo. So Thomas is probably gonna try to show us that what he can do. But we won 4-1. Oh yeah, we outshot Buffalo 62-11. Alexei Yashin was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Jason Spezza was the second star with 2 assists, and Sheldon Sawyer was the third star with an assist. Alexei Yashin has opened up the scoring in the first. It was his 30th of the season from Sheldon Sawyer and Chris Kelly. And then Pavel Datsyuk scored from Jason Spezza and Patrick Eliash. And then Yashin from Spezza and Zdeno Chara. It was 3-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Chris Phillips scored his 5th from Daniel Alfredson and Brooks Laich. It was 4-0 Sens after 2. And then early in the third period, Joe Corvo scored short-handed for Buffalo and prevented Ryan Miller from getting a shutout. And 41 was the final score. Oh, Brooks Laich is hurt, and so is Patrick Eliash. Ouch. So we lost 2 players in that game. Alright, so okay, they don't say for how long Laich is gone. A sore wrist is probably day-to-day, I would think. And then Patrick Eliash. for a few days. Eye irritation. Okay. So 2 guys have bobos, but they cannot play. Oh. They're all day to day. Oh, what to do? I mean, Dimitri Kalinin could play forward, I guess. I don't really like to do that. Let's see where we're at. I'm gonna go ahead and sim. It's only 2 days. We never know. Let's see where we're at after that. Jerome McGinley extends his point streak to 15 games. He had 2 assists against the Blues. A strong night for Brad Richards, who had a hat-trick. He scored all the goals for his team against Washington. Alright, I could use having one of them feeling better and be able to play. Josef Stumpel has competed in 1,000 games in his career. So Stumpel with the Boston Bruins, and he celebrated with a goal and an assist against Carolina. So 33 years old, Josef Stumpel. 2.5-star player, so pretty decent. No one could stop Josh Holden. In that same game, he had a hat-trick. And Martin Brodeur signed the next 4-year extension with the Devils, $4.85 per season. Yeah, we're about to play Pittsburgh, and we have a bunch of injured guys, so... When's our next game after that? 2 days later? Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to have a forward playing, a D-man playing forward. I mean, it happens in real life, it's rare, I don't like it, but I also don't want to, like, put somebody, because the thing is that in 5 days is our last game before the long break, so I don't want to put somebody on the injured reserve when they're day-to-day and they might be able to come back and play those games, and then, you know... although maybe that makes sense. Yeah, I guess it makes sense because they're not going to be missing that many games. Alright, I'm going to put Brooks like. You had the sore wrist, so we're going to put you on the injured reserve. I'm going to call somebody that actually can play forward. Ooh. Yeah, let's go. Let's get Denis Arkhipov. He's been my guy up front that I called back up. And now we're going to play Pittsburgh again, so we just look at them. They are now 35-17-3. They are still second in the East, and we are 1-0 obviously against them. We just won against them. Alright, so it's Wade the Bill Wicks in net for Pittsburgh, and Ryan Miller for the Ottawa Senators. And we won 4-3, so another 1-goal game against the Penguins. This time we outshot them 51-17. Jason Spezza was the first star of that game. He had 2 assists. Sidney Crosby was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Joe Thornton was the third star with an assist. We had 15,603 people in attendance for that game. So Pittsburgh opened up the scoring in the first period. And it was 1-0 Pens after 1. And then in the second period, Michael Ryder tied the game up from Chris Neal and Zdeno Chara. It was tied at 1. And then Pittsburgh took a 2-1 lead. But then Chris Kelly scored short-handed shortly after that from Chris Phillips and Anton Volchenkov. It was tied at 2 after 2. Then in the third period, Pavel Datsyuk scored from Joe Thornton and Jason Spezza. Made it 3-2. Pittsburgh tied the game shortly after that, made it 3-3, and then Chris Kelly scored on the power play from Alexei Yashin and Jason Spezza. 4-3 was the final score. Chris Neal improves at left wing. That's okay. Alright, Jerome McGinley's point streak ended at 15 games. Held scoreless against Nashville. And in that same night, a strong night for Scott Hartnell, who had a hat-trick, 3 goals. Corey Perry is suspended in Anaheim. He is going to miss a game. Mark Smith in Vancouver is suspended as well. He's going to miss 6 games. Mark Savard is back from suspension in Columbus. He will be back in the lineup. Chris Chelios is staying with Chicago. He signed another one-year contract, $4.33 million. 44 years old Chris Chelios, still a 5-star player. And Denis Arkhipov wants number 25. There you go. Alright, we are about to play the Rangers. So we have 3 games left in February already. Alright, so the Rangers are 24, 28, and 3, so it's a little bit more difficult in the Big Apple. They are 13 in the East, and we are 1-0 against the Rangers. We did beat them 10-2. It was at home. Now we're going to play at Madison Square Garden, so let's see if we can score another 10 goals against the Rangers. So Ryan Miller in net for the Sens, and the King, Henrik Lundqvist, in net for the Rangers. And we won 6-2. Alright, so we outshot the Rangers 51-19. Brian McCabe was the first star of that game. He had 4 assists. Patrick Eves was the second star with a goal and 2 assists, and Mike Fisher was the third star with 2 goals. Pavel Datsyuk opened up the scoring in the first period from Brian McCabe and Jason Spezza, and then the Rangers tied the game, but like 29 seconds later, I guess 19 seconds later, Joe Thornton scored on the power play from Brian McCabe, and then near the end of the period, Mike Fisher scored from Patrick Eves and Martin Havlat. 3-1 was the final score of the first period. Whoa. Not final score of the game. We scored more goals. Mark Streit scored in the second period. It was his 15th from Brian McCabe, and then Patrick Eves from Brian McCabe as well. 5-1 Sens after 2. And then in the third period, the Rangers scored a goal, but then Mike Fisher scored with 15 seconds left to go in the game from Patrick Eves, and 6-2 is your final score today. And yes, open ice leads to a productive night for Brian McCabe, who did have 4 assists. Ken Klee in waiver wire, and so is Nick Boynton. That's interesting. 2 defensemen. I'm not picking any up. I think I'm gonna need to be careful with money, so we're gonna go ahead and wait and see what's what. That's gonna be an interesting off-season. I might have to trade somebody, which I don't necessarily mind. I'm just not sure what I'm gonna do yet. So Yannick Lehoux in LA has been suspended. He's going to miss 1 game. Corey Perry served his one-game suspension. He's back in the lineup in Anaheim. Martin Straka has recorded 300 goals in his career, with a goal against Detroit. Todd Bertuzzi extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal against the Flyers. Matt Cullen might be back soon, and there's been a trade between the Maple Leafs and the Predators. Ooh, so Brian Smolinski and Tomas Moses, I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, have been traded to Nashville for Adam Hall and Michel Ouellet. So it's pretty much Adam Hall for Brian Smolinski that are the two centerpieces. So Adam Hall is younger, might make a little bit more sense. That's interesting. That's an interesting trade. Not a big trade, but it's still interesting because I consider that Smolinski and Adam Hall are probably similar type of players, but Smolinski is older. I guess we will see eventually. So we are about to host the Atlanta Thrashers home. They are 34-19-3, which is good for third in the East. So pretty good season for the Thrashers. And we are 1-0 against them this year. We did beat them in Atlanta 3-2. So Kari Lehtonen is going to be in net for Atlanta, and we are going to go with Brian Elliott. And we won 3-2. And we are officially at 100 points for the team. And we outshot Atlanta 42-17. Jason Spezza was the first star of that game. He had a goal and an assist. Ilya Kovalchuk was the second star with a goal and an assist as well. And finally, Zdeno Chara was the third star with an assist. 16,426 people in attendance for that game. So in the first period, Pavel Datsyuk scored from Jason Spezza and Sheldon Surrey. That was the only goal scored in that period, so it was 1-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Jason Spezza scored on the power play from Alexei Yashin and Brian McCabe, and then Daniel Alfredson from Mark Streit and Zdeno Chara. It was 3-0 after 2. Then the Thrashers did try to come back in that game. They scored twice in the third period, but that's the only goals they would get, and we would hold on and go back home with the win. David Tanabe is suspended in Boston. He's going to miss 2 games. Patrick Elias should be back soon. Matt Cullen as well. And Brooks Lake as well. Alright, and then tomorrow we play our final game between the Olympics. And it's going to be at home against the Flyers. Jaromir Jagr set everything up tonight. He had a goal and 5 assists against Carolina. Pretty good. And that was 5 straight games for him with a goal. Sidney Crosby also had a good game in that game. He had 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points. Viktor Kozlov extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had a goal and an assist against Dallas. Patrick Elias is ready to return, and Matt Cullen is starting to feel better as well. Alright, so let's play that final game before the long break. It's going to be against the Flyers. They are 34-17-6, and that's good for 4th in the East. We are 2-0 against the Flyers this year. Both games were 4-3 wins. So Patrick Desrochers in net for Philadelphia, and we are going with Ryan Miller. And we won 4-2. We outshot the Flyers 40-19. Michael Ryder was the first star. He had a goal and an assist. Martin St. Louis was the second star with 2 assists. And Matt Cullen was the third star with an assist. 17,596 people in attendance for that game. And Philadelphia opened up the scoring in the first period, and it was 1-0 Flyers after 1. And there's been a fight between Zdeno Chara and Jeff Carter. And then in the second period, Zdeno Chara tied the game from Michael Ryder and Mike Fisher. Then Sheldon Souris scored from Matt Cullen. It was 2-1 Sens after 2. And in the third period, Patrick Eves scored from Patrick Eliash. It was 3-1. Then Jeff Carter made it 3-2. But then Michael Ryder scored on the power play from Brian McCabe and Jason Spezza. 4-2 was the final score. And now we are going on a long break. Suspension over for Yannick Lehoux back in the lineup for the Kings. The red light stays on for Ilya Kovalchuk, who had 3 goals and 2 assists against Montreal. Todd Bertuzzi extends his goal streak to 6 games with a goal against the Devils. Barry Trotz might lose his job as the Rangers head coach. So the Rangers are 24-31-3 right now, as we saw they're not doing all that hot this year. And Barry Trotz might pay the price. Brooks Lake is about ready to come back. Of course, I've put him on the injured reserve, but it made sense to do that after all, because now I have like 17 days where I don't play games. So even if he's stuck on the injured reserve with some more days that he needs to stay on it, even though he's not injured, he's not missing games. Eric Stahl has a strong game. He had 4 goals against Buffalo. Marcus Ragnarsson is available from the Wild on the waivers. I am not picking him up. Alright, Brooks Lake is ready. What does it say over here? 2 more days. So I picked pretty good. The other 2 came back before him. Alright, so Brooks Lake, you are coming back to the... There you go. And Denis Arkhipov, you are going back to Binghamton. Thank you for your services. Not a lot of news because there's no games being played, so unless there's a trade or something like that, we are not going to be seeing much of anything. Maybe somebody's gonna get hurt helping a friend move. We haven't seen that in a while, for all the flack I gave it about it. Yeah, just a bunch of scouting reports. Alright, so we do one more click and then we're going to be in March. There you go, that was fast. Alright, so Corey Stillman has racked up 600 points in his career. He had a goal against San Jose. 32 years old, Corey Silman, 3-star player. Pretty good. Brad Boyes is not suspended in Toronto. Oh, Brian Lee. You're probably not gonna develop if you follow real life. Roman Wick. Yeah, we're really starting to get into players that either still play or, you know, that I've seen not too long ago. So we'll see. What's Peter Regan's potential? 2 stars? It would be nice if he could reach it. Alright, so the players of the month are Sidney Crosby and Ed Belfour. Ed Belfour now playing for Edmonton because of that trade that happened. Alright, so we are going to take a look at the standings. So in that short month, the standings in the East didn't change all that much. Boston is still knocking at the door for a playoff spot. Remember how bad Boston was at the start of the year, so they really turned it around. Now, in the West, we have Edmonton, Detroit, San Jose, Nashville, Colorado, Calgary, LA, and Columbus. Pretty tight there as well. Alright. Oh, so Jason Spezza has hit the 100-point mark after 54 games. So there you go. We have at least one 100-point player this year. He's still just a little short of the 2-point per game pace that he had at one point. So he has 100 points in 54 games. Yashin has 82 in 56. Datsuk 55 in 56. Thornton 53 in 56. Strite 51 in 54. McCabe 49 in 56. And it starts to dwindle down slowly but surely. And Michael Ryder is still almost a point per game player at 30 and 32. So that's pretty interesting. Alright, so we already have a 100-point player. Now there are others in the league at 100 points. Now the best goal scorer is Jaromir Jagr. He's already at 48, and Spezza has 43. Crosby is the best passer with 65 assists. And Sidney Crosby is the best pointer, best scorer right now in the league with 102 points in his rookie season. Spezza is second with 100. Yashin is sixth with 82. Alright, so we are looking pretty good. So we did lose a game to start this video, but other than that, we're still looking pretty dominant with a 54-2 record. I'm expecting that over time that's going to change to probably a little bit more realistic numbers, as I'm going to have to slowly shed some salary and gut my roster a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and save my game, and we are all set here. So as usual, I want to thank you for tuning in, and if you've liked the video, feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.